And welcome back to another podcast of our hometown, Chula Vista, Bonita. This is episode number 3. I've survived the first 2, and I'm a glutton for punishment, so let's go for 3 today. This is going to be one of my favorite interviews because the person we have today, Neisha Hernandez, has been a close friend and probably a darling of the Chula Vista community. And once you get to know her, you're going to agree with me. She is an incredible person. This episode of our hometown podcast is brought to you by Serpro Chula Vista. If you experience an emergency, they're available 24/7. Learn more at serveprochulavista.com. That is serveprochulavista.com. So let's dive right into this because we have a lot to cover. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time. We have about 35, 40 minutes. You and I met probably 2000, and I believe it was 2005, 2006. So that's going on 16 years.
Long time.
We've known each other. And I have constantly been amazed at what you've accomplished in those 16 years. And I said just a minute ago, you are the darling of Chula Vista. I'm going to actually prove that and why I give her that name, because there are some incredible things about this lady that she does. If you don't know who Neisha Hernandez is, you may know her dance studio in Chula Vista, Neisha's Dance and Music Academy, but she's a whole lot more, and she does a whole lot more. And we'll unwrap that as well. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, a little bit about yourself, a quick little bio, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Neisha Hernandez, and I am a wife and a mother of 4 kids. Youngest is 10, and the eldest is 22. And I've lived in Chula Vista for my whole life, as has my husband. We're Chula Vistians at heart through and through. Went to Chula Vista High School and just super passionate about the arts and about children and about bringing dance and music to our local community and bringing up the kids so that they can not only be great artists, but also be great human beings and contributors to our community.
I always like to tell stories about how the 6 degrees of separation. I think for Nisha and I, sometimes it was simply 1 degree. Couple, maybe about a month ago. And here's a little insight on me. When I'm not publishing and when I'm not doing STEAM activities, I actually drive Uber too, because it's just such a great opportunity to meet people. But about a month ago, I pick up this couple from the airport and we're heading back south to South Bay. And we're just talking, and they had shared with me that they were coming from the Bay Area. They had just gone to the 49ers game. And I was kind of surprised, like, well, what, aren't you a Chargers fan? And they
Right?
explained to me, well, we went to see my daughter perform at the 49ers game up in San Jose. And I go, oh, she goes, yeah, she's a cheerleader. I said, wow. And I don't know why I said this, and I don't understand. I said, well, how did she get into that? And she was shy. And then I don't know why, but I said, do you know Nisha's Dance and Music Academy? And the mother who's sitting behind me just about passed out. She was like, wait, what? How do you know that? And she tells me the story of her 2 daughters who kind of basically grew up in Nisha's studio. And surprisingly, of the 2 daughters, the shyest one is the cheerleader for the San Francisco 49ers. And I was asking Neisha about this early before we went on air. Does that surprise you? And what was your answer?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. First of all, I remember this family very well. They're one of our original family members back in the day, 27 years ago. Great family, great kids. But no, it doesn't surprise me when they go off and become professional at the dance industry, because that's what we are training them to do. But interestingly enough, it is the same pathway and learning style to how to become a great dancer as it is to how to become a doctor, how to become an attorney, how to own a restaurant. It's all of the characteristics and the mindsets and the training of committing yourself to something that is transferable to any industry. And when they come back and say that they're now a professional in dance, we're very proud of them, but we're also very proud of the kids who went on to become doctors and nurses,
Right.
etc.
This is not your only success story. We've talked in the past, and there's a number of actors, actresses, performers who've come out of your studio. And I think you mentioned to me a few years ago that the TV show Gotham
Yes.
Was it Catwoman?
Yes, young Catwoman.
Young Catwoman was actually one of your students.
Yeah, she got her start at our studio. Her parents were military family, and they were with us, I believe, for around 10 years. Um, and then off they went to Hawaii. When they came back, she had just grown a lot and got herself an agent and went for it. And she has worked a lot as well.
Good. Any other success stories like that you want to share?
Oh, yeah, sure. We have Nico de Jesus. He is on Broadway currently. Saw his posts on social media actually today. Um, one of his first big shows was Newsies. Yeah, he was in the touring Newsies for over a year. And we just had him back recently to teach the kids and to pour into them so that if they would like to go down a Broadway career path, that they can. Super successful, great local family. They're still living in the South Bay, the rest of the family adore him. We also have Annika Dalbrat, and she is a professional ballet dancer. And her mother still teaches for us. So the list will go on and on. We have people who dance backup for singers in concert, commercials, TV, all sorts of different professions that have to do with dance.
And one of your children's was kind of on that career path for a while too, right? The performing. You were traveling a lot to LA with.
Yes, auditioning, all of that. She started with dance and then moved over to acting and modeling. And now she's actually in college learning about the back end at USC in their film department. And she's going to do the business of the arts and film and such.
Good. So when I first met you, you had just kind of outgrown your current studio and you took a big step of faith going from how big was that studio, your first one, the one you had before Fenton?
I don't, must have been around 6,000 square feet. We actually had 3 different locations around Chula Vista, and the smallest one was about 2,500 square feet. And that was a lot to be driving around to 3 different studios, and we did outgrow it. The community in Chula Vista at the time was just really exploding with all of the new homes going into East Lake, and there wasn't a lot of activity at the time yet. Now everything's built out and you can find any wonderful activity for kids, but at the time there really wasn't. So we just kept outgrowing our spaces, and we had waiting lists of actually at one point up to 500 students just trying to get into any opening we could. And we did take a big jump. We bought a space in East Lake and built that out. It's 10,800 square feet now. And that's been our home for 15, 16 years now.
And you've added things to that as well. You used to be Neisha's Dance Academy, and now you're Neisha's Dance and Music Academy. So let's break that down. Dance. So what do you teach in the dance side of it?
Sure. All the classical styles. So it's going to be ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, musical theater, and acrobatics.
Acrobatics. So that's what I was hoping to hear you say. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
What is acrobatic dancing?
Okay. Acrobatics, the best way I could say for people who don't know about acrobatics is it would look similar to gymnastics or tumbling, but it's specifically about learning those flips to put into competitive dances.
Okay, not cheer, but competitive dancing.
Right. So if you have a competition team, those students are learning ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, and now it's really necessary that they also learn acrobatics so they can put in all sorts of bendy, and I call them flippity doodahs. That's a fun thing to say.
Is that a technical term?
That is not a technical term, but lots of different options for flips in every direction. And it really ups the ante, and the kids adore it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you stepped into music. So let's talk about that for a second.
Sure. We have music lessons in piano, voice, guitar, cello, violin. We have a lovely quartet group that we've got going on. It's all classical. So nothing where you would find like rock or no drums or
Oh, see,
electric
that's why I don't
guitar.
go there.
Yeah, that stuff is great. It's just not our specialty. So our little area of expertise is really in the classical, both in the dance and music.
And you've taken all this experience, because again, we talked a little bit about this before going on air, and you took all this information and you wrote a book.
I did.
And let's talk about that. The book is called Shine.
Yep, a mom's guide to help her daughter find and follow her dreams.
So give me a breakdown of that. Give me kind of a 1-minute bio of what does that actually entail? What are some of the chapters, and what is the purpose, and what is the end result? What is your desire when they read this book? What were you hoping they'll get out of it, and what are you hoping to see used?
Okay. Shine is really a love letter that I wrote to the moms at the studio. And while all of the lessons in the book are certainly applicable to any sport or any mom with a kid who has a dream and wants to do something with it. It's specifically to the moms at our school. And I want those moms to understand our mindset and our journey when we take a child from I want to do this through the end destination of graduation, of what we're teaching them and why, the why behind it. And then we're looking for buy-in or support from the parent. And if the parent loves what we're doing, our formula, our little roadmap to success, then they're in the right place. If anything doesn't work for them, then they're not our person. They're not our customer. They shouldn't come to us, because every dance studio or music studio has different things that they focus on. So one of the chapters is on mindset, and it talks about visualization, and another one is on picking your circle of influence, which for children, it's their friendships, right? We also talk about, in terms of circle of influence, the mentors that they choose. We as parents can't just send them off to school and hope like it used to be when I grew up. You got the teacher you got, and good luck. Now we have a voice in it. We have a say in it. We get to choose our mentors. We don't have to accept what the mentors are saying. If we don't like it, we can choose a different mentor. So it coaches the parents through that so that they can best help their kids to get what they want.
Excellent. Excellent. Have you published anything else besides that book?
Yes, we have a couple different books. The first one is Let's Play Ballet, and this is an adorable book that one of our former students, our graduates, who is an artist, actually illustrated for us. And her name's Claire Dennis. Lovely young lady. So it's called Let's Play Ballet, and it takes toddlers through an entire dance class so that they can practice at home. So when they come in, they have had fun with it at home and they know what to expect. Now we have our second one in this series coming out in January.
Okay.
And it's called Let's Play Dance Recital. And this is a book, again, for toddlers up to 6 years old, to teach them all of the different things, the different components that are important into a recital. Like you learn your dance steps, you practice it, the lights, what happens when the lights come on, what's that feeling in your tummy, the excitement, why we do or do not wear makeup on our face on stage. That's a big one with some parents. We don't necessarily want our kids to look like grown-ups, but we also don't want their faces to be washed out in the lights on stage. Right. So it takes them through all of that and helps parents who are first time in a recital to understand all that's going on in a very simple and friendly way that's exciting for the children.
Perfect. And then that's a perfect segue into the other part of your life, which is the executive director of the Chula Vista Ballet. That is something that has been this season, and we're going to talk about the Nutcracker, but there's other performances they do. But the Nutcracker performance by the Chula Vista Ballet has been I think we calculated an 8-year tradition in my family, and it is spectacular. And I'm just going to say up front, my favorite part is all those little kids that say, let's play ballet. And they actually go to Neisha's studio and they actually are casted into the performance. And there's a spot in the ballet where all the little mice come out. And you can imagine all the little mice are probably these 5 and 6-year-olds.
They are.
And they have this little dance and they're giggly and they're all smiley. And there's always a couple that are looking at the audience and going,
or go the wrong way.
oh yeah. But it is the most, and in addition to all the beautiful professional ballerinas and ballet, you got these little mice, and it's just the cutest thing to see. Like, this is their first big recital or performance, and they're all excited, and they looking in the audience trying to find their parents, which like I can't see because of the lights.
Yeah.
But it is just the cutest thing. And I will tell you. So tell us more. The season this year, the 2022 season, Nutcracker, where's it being performed?
That's going to be at the Joan Kroc Theater, which is in La Mesa.
Okay.
And that's November 19th at 2 and 5 p.m. And
just those two performances?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
November 19th, 2 and 5 p.m. Okay. Tickets still available?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And we're going to scroll that at the bottom of the screen and we'll get more information out. But I will tell you, the premier ballerinas they bring, and let's talk about that, because you bring some very high caliber performers from other countries. So who do we see this year?
Well, we quite often have been bringing in dancers from Japan, because our longtime artistic director and co-founder of the ballet company is Taiko Nishino. So she has been coming back and forth from Japan each year, multiple times, to help stage this production. And she's just such a gift to Chula Vista. I would like to say that she's the hidden gem of Chula Vista, because she's such a high level, and she's lived right in our community for over 20 years. And now coming back and forth from Japan to put this on, but she's the number one. This year we have David Block coming from, Los Angeles and New York. He goes back and forth between the two, these dancers. And we also have a couple of local stars. We have Sayet, who's coming to us from Encinitas Ballet, longtime friend, and in the ballet world, it's such a small world, so we keep our friends close. And we also have Lucas coming to us from City Ballet, dancers on loan.
Has either of them performed before in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
So these two are, actually all three of them are going to be returning guests. And the bravado from these gentlemen in their leaps and turns is incredible. And they are partnering with our dancers. And what we call the Grand Pas de Deux is going to be with one of our students that's been with us for the whole time that she's grown up, and she's graduating this year. And so there's a lot of sentimental moments in the rehearsals that we're having. And I think that they will be showing on stage, and it's going to be quite beautiful.
So that's almost the highest compliment you could pay one of your students, is to pair them with a premier ballerina or someone who is on a national stage, international stage,
Yes.
and let them perform together. Because I've seen that
Yes.
happen last year. And that is a lifetime memory for both.
Yes.
So that's going to be exciting. So again, November 19th, 2 p.m. and 5 p.m., Joan Kroc. And it's only because it's such a big show, you need a big theater. And unfortunately, there's not a big theater in Chula Vista big enough to handle the crowds that you draw.
Right. We did just get the Southwestern College built a beautiful new theater out, and we're hoping to partner with them as time goes on.
Good. So we've got the dance instructor, and we've got the ballet. So now let's get to know who Neisha is, because Neisha is more than both the executive director of the Chula Vista Ballet and the owner and founder of Neisha's Dance and Music Academy. But she's also a mentor. She also does a lot with women, empowering women. You've made yourself available to coach. I would say Neisha and I met back around 2005 when I was a business banker for a bank, and she was actually one of my clients, and this is how we got to know each other. Um, and we've seen each other grow because we both have kind of gone on our journey. But I have also seen Neisha make herself available. She's a selfless person. She is a person that appreciates, respects, and embraces her gifts, but she's also she's very interested in sharing those gifts with other people, and she really lives kind of by that golden rule. So, in addition to the dance and the ballet, you've also kind of moved forward into mentorships. Are you still doing that?
Yes. So I think it's just in you as a teacher. At first I was teaching children, and then I was mentoring um, the crew of amazing 18 players that I have at the studio and helping them grow. The more that they grow, the more they can help the students, right? And then about 10 years ago, I linked elbows with a group called More Than Just Great Dancing. And the head of that organization, her name is Misty Lown, phenomenal woman. And I'm happy to say a good friend and a mentor of mine. And I became a certified coach within that group. And so that has enabled me to assist and come alongside other dance studio owners to reach out, grab their hands, and pull them up in terms of the business side of dance. So if most dance studio owners, they're amazing at dance. They love it. They've committed their lives to dance. It doesn't mean they understand the business side. And so, without money, there is no mission. So we have to learn somehow how to run a business so that we can continue the mission, right? So that group, More Than Just Great Dancing, also youth protection advocates in dance. That's something that I'm very passionate about. We work to keep kids happy, healthy, and safe in dance. That's also a national organization that I belong to. But even here on a local level, like I've partnered up with some of our other local dance studios, um, just so that we can. This happened during COVID, of course, when we really needed each other, and I just said, hey, let's not be against each other. Let's be for each other because we're so much stronger together. And during this COVID time, we need to have bonds and strength and love and appreciation and have people that know what we're going through.
Rising tide raises all
Yes,
ships.
you said it.
Good. That is interesting because one of the things I really appreciate about Neisha is not only she's an incredible dance instructor and she's a giving person, but she's a very savvy businesswoman. And I think there are two women in Chula Vista that I would say if you ever wanted to shadow and understand how to uh, run a business that you're passionate about, but like Neisha said, understand not just you're a good dance teacher, but you are also a good business person, because we've learned that as a business banker previously and how I got to know Neisha, all too often I found people who had passion and dreams in what they could do as a skill, but they lack the business sense. And once that dream becomes reality and you're just exhibiting your skills, but you haven't learned business, it's going to catch up with you. And you're going to come to a crossroad where either you go out of business or you better learn very quickly how to run a business. And there are two great examples in the community of Chula Vista that I would say, if you could shadow either of these, you and understand what they're doing. Neisha Hernandez is one of them, and another one's going to be a future guest, Lynn Twerk with Kids on the Go.
Kids on the Go.
And both of those are just dynamos, and they get it. And they have both grown from small to very large businesses in their industry, and they're also influencers in their industry as far as they don't just live in their Chula Vista bubble, but they advocate sometimes at a regional, local, for Lynn's case, even a statewide level for things. And that is something that you don't often find, especially someone who's willing to share that experience with you, not just have it, but to share it. And I've known, again, like I said, I've known Neisha for many years. She's actually been a supporter of Our Hometown when we first started publishing in 2013. She was one of my first advertisers. And I remember us having a conversation, and this is a gem of wisdom that is right from the mouth of Neisha. And I asked her about advertising and why she's very forward with her advertising. She's very committed to her advertising. She is always looking to grow her business. And do you remember what you told me?
I do. I remember the conversation.
And what did you say? Why do you advertise? Because
Well, you don't save yourself into bankruptcy.
right,
If you don't spend on advertising, no one will ever know who you are.
right. And that is such a gem, because so many times I meet people who open up businesses, and it's been this way for years. And I would ask them what they're doing to promote their business. And they're like, oh, word of mouth. Oh, this. And I'm like, you're saving yourself into bankruptcy. And sadly to say, I have yet to be proven wrong on that. And I'm not saying advertise with Our Hometown, though we are a very good publication, but you have to be out there in the community marketing your business, whether it's through the chamber, whether it's through networking, whether it's through your Facebook social media, whether it's through just multiple avenues of networking. You have to be out there, because that build it and they will come philosophy might have worked back around 2003, 2004, when you just had a pulse and people are coming into your business. That's not the case anymore. Media has changed. When I left TV and radio, was a time when TV was about to transition off air and onto cable. And that was a big transition. And I knew at that point, the game has changed. So media has changed in how you market your business. But most importantly, you have been very diligent about marketing your business in many different ways, but you're also very visible in the community. And I think that's very important. Chula Vista is a great city. It is my favorite city. I wish I was born and raised in Chula Vista, but I've only been here for 18 years. But I will tell you that Chula Vista and Bonita is a great place to run a business if you're willing to go out there and make yourself available to the community. What are some of your secrets, other than, of course, using this great publication called Our Hometown Newsprint? What are some of your other secrets or things that you do to promote your business?
Well, word of mouth is very good. When people are happy, they will share. And I will definitely say when they're unhappy, they'll share even more.
Or they say you give one person good service, they'll tell 10 people. If you give
Yeah.
one person bad service, they'll tell 100.
Right. But what we have found is that being connected and involved in the community is really important for us. And what I found through the Rotary Club of Chula Vista is a connection with great people, but it's also the philosophy of service above self. And so we have taken that very seriously. We, the studio, we, the teachers as well. And we're teaching that to the children, and then also making an impact on the community. And we do a lot of community service, mostly kids helping kids, with our studio helping the kids to help the kids.
So interesting. How did you find out about Rotary?
Why, that would be through Michael Monaco
I
and
actually-
Lourdes Valdez,
Yes,
the two of
that's
you
right.
back in the old days when you were both my banker. And yeah, thank you very much. And Michael, you were the sponsor, my sponsor for Rotary Club of Chula Vista.
Shameless plug, but yes, I actually had Neisha perform when I was president in 2012 at our Christmas program. She brought some ballerinas, and it was a good fit. So what Neisha's talking about, and we're just going to kind of jump into this little Rotary for a second. Shameless plug for Rotary, but Neisha, I'm wearing my pin. Are you?
I am not.
Oh,
I'm
well.
going to get fined for this. I'm certain.
I'm really happy to hear that you've taken that Rotary principle, service above self, and integrated it into your Ballet studio, because a lot of people don't know about Rotary, and we're not going to spend a lot of time, because I don't want this to be Our Hometown Rotary program. But there are a lot of principles that I've learned, that you've learned. We're both past presidents of the same club. But we've also initiated a lot of those principles we've learned in Rotary into our lives, into our business. So it is nice to hear that you've done that. This doesn't surprise me, but I'm glad that you actually verbalize that you
Yeah.
actually do that. And I think if more businesses understood what Rotary really does and its principles, you would find more businesses integrating that service above self. And that really means is that, in a nutshell, our Rotary Club in Chula Vista, our goal and desire is to make our community better through fundraise. Like we had a golf tournament last week. Money from that's going to help in our immediate community through scholarships and supporting other programs. It also helps at a local and regional level when we pair up with other groups, sometimes across the border, sometimes here in our own California footprint. But I'm going to give you the spotlight and say, what's our big international push?
Our big international push is right down here in Tijuana, and we do a home build each year. And last year, our students raised almost $2,500 so that another family right across the border from us, I mean, probably 10 miles as a crow flies, they're not living in a regular home. They're living in a styrofoam home or in 4 garage doors pushed together home. And our children are very blessed in our community. And they did a great job. They raised about, like I said, $2,500 that they were able to contribute towards this home. And then my husband and I went down and assisted with the home build and came back and was able to share that with the students and show them the actual real children that were impacted from receiving a home that they could be safe from the rain, and they could lock the door. And I have goose pimples. It's an incredible experience.
It's to see the transformation in this person's life, who I've been down there before COVID, and there was one family living in a van, and in the middle of the van was a hole, and that hole was the bathroom. And then a day later, they have a 10-foot by 20-foot, roofed home with a door that locks, with 2 windows and a loft. And that is really, to experience that, it's powerful. I used to bring my kids down to remind them how blessed they were. And then there is a global initiative that Rotary does, and this is we're talking about. For nearly 30 years, we've partnered with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Rotary International, and including the World Health Organization, and we've been on the forefront of
polio. Ending polio is, to be more specific. Yeah, we're this close. And we've had a couple of extra cases pop up recently. We were down to 2 cases worldwide. There are a couple more cases that have popped up this year, but we'll continue to fight on. It's a good fight.
So that's just a little bit about Rotary. Rotary is, I always pronounce this word wrong. My wife says it's philanthropic.
Yes.
Did I pronounce that right?
Philanthropic.
Philanthropic. If you're interested in Rotary in whatever community you're in, look up your local Rotary Club and visit them and see if this is a fit for you. But I will tell you a lot of my experience as a publisher, as a banker, the friendships that I have developed have come from Rotary. I think they're the salt of the earth type of people. So this was not on my script to talk about Rotary. You started it. But these are some great talking points that we should be sharing with our community.
Yep,
on what we do, whether it's Rotary or some other organization. If it serves your community, bless them by giving of your times and talents to them. So that's pretty much what we have left for today. I just want to say again that this episode of Our Hometown Podcast has been brought to you by ServPro Chula Vista. They've served over 10,000 people. They are family owned in Chula Vista. If you have an emergency, they are available 24/7. Just go online to serveprochulavista.com. That's serveprochulavista.com, and tell Albert Aguilera that Michael Monaco sent him. I also want to say this is sponsored by Minnie Revlosky of 24K Realty, and you can reach her at 619-804-5373. That's Minnie at 24k@gmail.com. And of course, my friends at Faust and Sharif Lawyers, or actually we're going to reverse that. It's Sharif and Faust Lawyers, but they don't care. They're specializing in civil, criminal, family, litigation, employment, and appeals. And I will tell you from personal experience, If you've got something going on in your life and you want people who are professional and diligent and aggressive and you need help, Sharif Faust. So that's Sharif Faust Lawyers. They're in downtown San Diego. And you can also find them. They advertise in our hometown newsprint. So that's it for today. I want to thank our guest, Neisha Hernandez of Neisha's Dance and Music Academy and Executive Director of Chula Vista Ballet, and all around awesome person, for taking time out of her day to share it with mine. So I'm going to end with this. Please be kind to each other, and please be kind to yourself. Take care.